Hey y'all, it's me Alex. Today I have a video that is going to be on the most god-awful product names of makeup-y things that I have ever heard of in my life. Now this is a collab video with my lovely friend here, Emily Hanhan. If you haven't watched her videos, what are you doing? She does a lot of commentary, makeup tutorials, just shopping her stash, just an overall really lovely human being. I love her personality and I love the way, and she really just shows good ways of being a responsible and smart and ethical consumer, and she looks at things with a very critical eye, and I really appreciate that. I also really just love the way that she does her makeup. She does it in such a way that isn't, to me, she's capable of such a wide variety of looks, and she's really not afraid to take a risk, and she does a lot of colorful looks with lots of blush, and I would go to her for any sort of blush needs that I possibly have because she's also just very, very skilled in what she does. So I really, really like her, and she's an absolute delight. And this video was actually inspired by a comment she left on my Kat Von D video, which was basically, yes, Kat Von D might be gone from the brand, but what about the people who literally let names like Underage Red, Lolita, Selection get all the way to being in a Sephora? And I thought that was a really good point, and it also got me to thinking, wow, there are so many names of makeup products that we see that we're just like, these had to get past a lot of different people, a lot of committees in order to get into like production. Like you see those products that you're just like, a significant number of people had to think that this was a good idea, and you just kind of like worry about the fate of humanity if that's the case. So anyway, I think that is a long enough introduction for me to be able to tell y'all what this video is about. And also, I will set a disclaimer that yes, some of the things that I'm going to be naming are from brands that I regularly shit on, but not all of these brands are brands that I regularly shit on, so like I'm an equal opportunity comedian here. So anyway, we're just gonna get started. So I kind of mentioned this in my introduction, but Kat Von D, for some odd reason, decided to name one of her Study Kiss lipsticks Underage Red, and like multiple people thought that was a good idea. I can kind of maybe perhaps get her story behind it of like, yeah, like sneaking into bars and stuff when I was younger, before like with fake IDs and shit, and like cool, fun, whatever. But also, if you want to like glorify underage girls, especially considering now that her husband, like, yikes, that should have been a red flag in and of itself. But if you want to know more, her husband basically, his grown-ass friends had slept with his teenage daughter, and he blames her for it and said that she betrayed him. So I think that Underage Red should have been a red flag in and of itself for her and her choice in relationships and like the things that she defends, because that's just beyond uncomfortable, and there's nothing cute or sexy about any of that. You know, if it really was about sneaking into bars and stuff with a fake ID, you know, you could call it like Sneaky Red. Any better choice than that? The next one is from another brand that I shit on a regular basis, and that is a liquid lipstick from Jeffree Star Cosmetics called Abused. And I don't know why more people didn't talk about it. Now, I've heard a few of my friends mention this in the past before as definitely a really bad name for something, and I know a lot of people are saying, I think it was based off of a song from like Marilyn Manson or something like that, but that doesn't make it better. That just means that more than one person out there thinks that it is okay to glorify abuse for the sake of getting fame and fortune, and especially considering that it is in the shade of like this really bruisey navy blue, that especially makes me uncomfortable, as if you are a woman or female presenting person in this world, chances are you or someone you know has been through that. And quite frankly, I am very much just not here for any sort of glorification of that. There are so many other things that you could have chosen for that name that I don't understand why you had to go the abuse route, and especially that coupled with Jeffree Star's just general misogyny that he's shown on like his life, that puts me in an especially uncomfy way about this. Now this one, this one is less of an offensive thing, but rather just a, that's a choice you made though. And this is also a liquid lipstick because for some odd reason brands really like putting uncomfy names with liquid lipsticks, and this one is from Too Faced, and it's their liquid lipstick called Granny Panties. So I remember when they released their like melted matte liquid lipsticks, I was actually looking at some of them because I remember a few of my friends said that they were really good formulas. And so I was like going into Ulta, I was looking at the different colors. I had that green one in my hands and I was like, ooh, that one's cute. And then I saw this really pretty like grayish purple that was like very dead girl chic type of shade, and I was like swatching it and like, ooh, I might get that one. And then I looked at the name and the name was Granny Panties, and I turned a case and I'm just like, why the hell would someone name something like that? I'm just saying, like, who thought it would be a good idea? Like, I don't want to like be wearing that lipstick and get lots of compliments, because let's be honest, I definitely would. That would be a super cute shade on me. And then when people would ask me, oh, what lipstick are you wearing? I would have to look them straight in the face and say, oh, this shade is called Granny Panties. Who in their right mind would want to have to go through that? While there are some things that might have some weird or funny names, you know, out there, I do not ever want to have to admit that something I'm wearing on my face is called Granny Panties. That is an uncomfortable situation. Like, imagine me having to say that in church. In church! I'm sorry. That one is very specifically something that I'm just like, no, we're not admitting to wearing anything like that on our faces now. Now this is something that, it's not a product name itself, it's a name of a shade in an eyeshadow palette. And this is something that is very specific to bothering me. And it's in one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Self-Made palette. I really love it. It was one of my first high-end eyeshadow palettes, and it's really what got me into high-end eyeshadows in general. And it's this one specific shade that's called Sherbert. If you actually look on the packaging of the majority of fruit-flavored ice creams, which I don't know exactly what sherbet is, but to me it's basically a fruit-flavored ice cream. Love me some rainbow sherbet. I really should get something next time I go grocery shopping. That'd be a delight. There's only one R in sherbet, and this is just like a pet peeve of mine, that of like the way people pronounce things, and it's probably awful and I really do need to get over myself, but between sherbet and salmon, which I've heard pronounced salmon, that just like grates on my nerves for some odd reason, because like in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter how people pronounce things. However, sherbet like makes my shoulders like just like go up to my ears. And yes, I know that like it's a pretty common pronunciation and I should get over it, but like the fact that a whole ass Sephora level high-end brand put that as their name, not sherbet, but Sherbert with 2 R's. It's one of those things, it's like, you know how some people don't like the word moist, which I admit is a strange word, but whatever. Saying sherbet as sherbert gives me the same feeling as other people get from the word moist. So this is a very me specific problem. I'm sure no one in the world has this problem the same way I do, but like, this is an airing of grievances video, so here y'all go. Okay, another one that goes back into the kind of odd sexually uncomfortable things, which I'm surprised that Too Faced didn't do this one. This is actually a Super Shock shadow from Colourpop, which I kind of like went through their Super Shock shadows because I know they've had some weird names in the past, but this is the one that was the weirdest to me. And it's one called Daddy. And again, this falls into the category of Granny Panties in that there isn't necessarily anything inherently wrong with that. But if someone were to ask me what I was wearing on my face or like what eyeshadow I was wearing, I would not want to admit to wearing something called daddy on my face. And now daddy is a word that has definitely been ruined by the internet and should be something that is like completely innocent, but like, you know, Tumblr had to go fuck everything up. And also when I hear that word, I can't help but think of like Ouran High School Host Club when Kyoya and Tamaki would call each other like mommy and daddy. I just outed myself as a weeb, but here we are. So that is like a very specifically uncomfortable Colourpop shade. There is nothing inherently wrong with it. It's not like problematic. It's nothing like abused or underage red, but it's something that I definitely wouldn't want to admit to wearing on my face. Again, imagine if I wore it to church. I'm not a prude by any means, but I do wear a lot of makeup to church, and like there are lots of lovely church ladies who compliment me on my makeup on a regular basis, and I just don't want to admit it to them. Now, there's an entire makeup line where surely they had to have done this deliberately to have uncomfortable, god-awful. This one I'm putting into the god-awful side of things. And that is Flesh Beauty. Like I said before, the words like moist and panties and things like that are generally words that make the internet uncomfortable. And I would like to add flesh to that lexicon of just like generally uncomfortable words. Now, this is a brand that's in Ulta. I have never tried anything from it because, like, I don't know, it just doesn't really appeal to me. This brand was just like a gold mine for this video because literally every name of product that they have in their collection is just like, ugh. Let me read off some of the highlights of this brand that I just had to write this stuff down. So firstly, they have the Firm Flesh Thick Stick Foundation. They had the Tender Flesh Blush, the Flesh to Flesh Highlighting Powder, the Fleshy Lipstick, of course that's a lipstick, and the Fleshpot Eye and Cheek Gloss. And the word Fleshpot just makes me feel like very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-y. I don't know about y'all, but like flesh in general makes me feel very like slasher cannibal horror moviness, and Fleshpot specifically just makes me think of a pot of human flesh. And like, while I'm a horror movie fan, I don't want to wear anything called Fleshpot on my face. And just like if you say flesh over and over long enough, it just sounds like the worst thing ever. I would recommend you take a shot every time I say flesh in this last like couple minutes, but I don't want you to die of alcohol poisoning. But basically that whole brand has made a name for itself after being a very uncomfortable name of just like flesh, 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 flesh. There are so many better things that they could have named that. And that's why I'm also thinking that this one had to have been deliberate, because like they made an entire brand out of like uncomfortable fleshy names. And then lastly, I have the Balm The Total Package palette. Now let me look this up real quick just so I make sure I get the packaging specific right. The Balm has made some like interesting products in the past. I actually really like the one palette I have from the Balm, and I actually do want to try some of their cheek products because I have heard really good things about it. And they've made like some cutesy innuendo type things, which is like, I don't actually mind the way that they do the majority of their palettes. Like they have their Nude Tude palette, which has like some cute pinup girls on it. And I think they're generally like a cute and harmless brand. But this one just goes into, maybe it's the fact that I'm gay, but it is called their Total Package palette, and they have a man's ass on their product. And it's, fortunately, they went for the back of the jeans with the butt rather than the front of the jeans with the crotch, because I had a feeling when I first saw the name of this that they were going to go for the crotch. But instead they went for the butt, which I think was a nice and more tasteful choice in this. I just don't particularly want to be thinking about a man's package when I am putting on eyeshadow. Like, granted, this is a palette that I don't find to be particularly like appealing. It's very neutral, as is a lot of the stuff from the Balm. Oh! But I did look on the inside, and it does have a man holding a pug, like right on his like stomach area with a little tiny bit of focus on the crotch, so I shouldn't have spoke that soon. I'd only seen the outside of it, so the Total Package from the Balm, that exists. So anyway, let me know down below what are some of the like cringy product names that you've seen in the beauty industry, because God knows we have a lot of them. Also, please go check out my friend Emily's channel because she's an absolute delight and you have got to love her content. And I really also can't wait to see like the names of things that she picks out, because this is gonna be fun. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see y'all in my next one. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.